welcome. I I I want to just open the space by saying that it really came from my own necessity and my own wish to have this call really around being with the symptoms of asthma from a feelings practitioner perspective. And I noticed I had a complete blank space about that, and I reached out to Eva, and we were going to talk one-on-one, and then we were going to talk with just Michaela, and then I was just like, come on, let's do a whole work talk and record it and bring everyone in. And so here we are. Yeah, so I hand over to you both.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Eva, do you want to introduce also something?
Yeah, so
Be a wish, yes.
yes. So how it started for me is that I started to a very like deep journey of healing my asthma. I would say like really start consciously heal my asthma symptoms 3 months ago. As before I was on medication and I didn't really was aware or conscious about what are the symptoms about, and then I started to dive deep and to be so close to the symptoms so that I can find out what is really creating them, and when my body is reacting and to what, so that I had the symptoms. So this is where I started my journey, and my journey was that I made the decision to not to take the medication anymore and to start another, like try another ways. So it was 3 months, more than 3 months of very close relationship to myself and collaborating, especially with Michaela and also with Ines, finding out what is really behind. So what's really interests me is what's the source, what is the pattern, what is something that I create consciously or unconsciously that the symptoms happens. And I've been in several feelings practitioner spaces that really helped me to understand my pattern of what is behind when the symptoms occur. And here I will hand over to you, Michaela, to start, as you are like a book with all the information. So yeah.
Yes, thank you. And I would start to like first reveal myself. Like as I would start in a safe space for myself to express. And what I sense inside of me is that I sense like my body is a little bit tired in the diaphragm area already on my left and right side in my belly. And I also feel that there is a tension here in my mouth while I start to speak right now. And I feel like that fear is arriving and also anger. So my mind is saying, my old survival strategy is starting. And while I speak it, I can sense that there is some relaxation already. So revealing myself and bringing myself into this space to bring intimacy, to say, here I am, I'm a human person, and I have my struggles, I have my life, and I have my great power and radiance. So, and all of that is somehow how I started, a part or patterned parts of how asthma is seen or shown in your bodies, maybe. So, and as feelings practitioner, so we started to be interested in how our feelings and emotions working in our bodies. And the distinction is not only looking at the psyche or the mental body, not only looking, I'm having symptoms on my physical level. It's like bringing all together, having a combination. And therefore, I invite you all to first check out, where do you sense your lungs in your body? Do you have an inside picture where they are and how they are right now? Can you feel them moving? Do you have a picture how they look like? And I want to dive a little bit into it, because the picture of the lungs brings us a lot of keys. Yeah, if you look at it, and you can have an inside look, like watching your lungs from the outside to the inside and having like an impression of them, or maybe you have had a view into an anatomy book already and you saw, there is a lung and it looks like that. And you can also have an inside view, like as you would sit in your lung on both sides and looking to the outside. And while I speak, you can try it out all the time, again and again, connect to this amazing organ. As it has two parts, a left and a right lung, and inside of it are like small, small balls. Yeah, like really amazing. It's like a grape tribe. Yeah, they're sitting together and building also something like how it's called, the branches of a tree, or the roots going into the earth. And the bubbles are sitting really close together. And around these bubbles, there are a lot of vessels. And I like it because it is to come really close in, looking at it and seeing that there are like, these bubbles sitting in a space and having neighbors, and they are really close. And that is how it is working inside of us. So there are like, there's space. So it's about spaciousness. There is the togetherness. And there is like this exchange of liquids, of oxygen, of like different kind of like matter, like materialized, like water and gases, and everything is happening in this small like area. And what we did in the Feelings Practitioner work, we said, okay, there is an organ speaking in the language of symptoms. What means, I don't know if you know the definition of symptoms. Symptoms means something is, so the real definition means something is ripe to fall apart.
Oh.
There is no coincidence. Yeah, it's called also there is no coincidence. Something wants to be shown, wants to show and come up so that you can grab the key, that you can take whatever information the symptom will bring you. And yes, that is in each of our cases, in each of who we are right now here, and if we give it to the whole world, individual. As there are also different patterns or ways how asthma bronchiale is showing up. Here, each of you will, or each of whoever needs the symptom will create another kind of how it will be seen in the world. And we also discovered, we observed a lot of people, what is happening when a symptom is arriving? What are like the conclusions? What happened before? What was the outcome? What for is a symptom? And what we found out behind that is a whole like a world, a big map, a kind of landscape you can discover. And that is one part in what we do in the possibility or in the feelings practitioner. And also, it comes from possibility management, that we really check what is the pattern and discover it so that you have like a bunch of keys to go for it. And so it is connected to, for example, as the modern medicine culture said, there is something what is triggering you, for example. It could be allergic asthma. Something is coming from the outside, and then you react on it. That is what maybe everybody is knowing, and how you then treat yourself. Yeah, so most of the people stop taking this trigger, or they do something that the bronchs not longer constricting themselves. So like treating the symptoms in a way of avoiding that the person and the people show their symptoms, like an antidote. Yeah, that is a possibility. And each time when you don't like to feel or have an emotion or it is hurting, we are really trained to numb our symptoms, to say, okay, for now it's not okay. I put it on a shelter, and next time or next year, I will take care. And the symptoms will stay because you are not confronting yourself with the symptoms and with the gold in it. Maybe it was not possible, or it was not comfortable. And in the feelings practitioner trainings, we really go for it to create something like a world or a culture where it's possible that you can show your feelings and what is happening in you, like honest and spontaneously and in the moment when it's happening. So that you can really listen to your body, because your body is already screaming somehow, and you haven't maybe seen it before and heard it before. So how are your lungs right now while I speak? Are you still breathing? Okay, good. Okay, so I ask it because it's like a storm of information, and I want to be with you. Because that is one part of asthma. It's reacting to an outside world. It's already because, as you remember, what was your first act when you came to the earth? You took your first breathing, your first breath. It is the first action. Wow, you come to life, and here you are. And you are not longer connected to your mom. And yes, you are with the umbilical cord. And it will happen that the first cut is there. Like you have had a spaciousness and safe, held space in the belly, and suddenly you breathe on your own. And this first thing, there already can happen something with you that you feel so disconnected that the first breathing already is a shock. And that you maybe not really unfold the two spaces which are right now there. Because as you see, a lung has two, how it's called in German, it's Lappen. Thank you, lobes, yeah. And it's like, it shows already, a separation happened. It is not only one lung, it has two lobes. So, and maybe you experienced or your client experienced a shock there. So it's the first shock trauma of separation. And that is also like a reaction. Oh, now I'm not longer in the symbiosis or in this one being one person with my mother. And there's already a small or a bigger reaction on, oh, that's the world. That's something else I don't know. So, and there is already also a feeling happening, and that can maybe make a scar or a constriction or like a first reaction and pattern in your lungs. So, and then you start to breathe and you don't know it any longer and you go for your life. And you came from like a bigger source. You came with a purpose. You said, hey, here on earth, it is a place I want to live. And you have had like an urge to come here, a necessity. And at the same time, you came from the source. You came from the unbelievable, abundant consciousness. And there also happened in separation. Like you have been one, and suddenly you are not longer in this interconnectedness, maybe with the whole, whatever you can call it, the source, God, or the wholeness, love, the principles. You are a piece of it, a small little baby or a small growing up person, yeah, going your pathway. And this is another one. It's another one, another separation, another bubble in your bronch. Another, there's another part. And in this moment, also reaction is happening. And it is like coming from a whole water universe, like having this ocean, the bubbles. And like as you see water drops, they are falling like from a tree, and it is an own drop. It is like having a surface. As our bronchs, the small balls, are looking inside of our lungs. So it's another separation. And there is another feeling. So if you sense in your bronchs, so which feelings are there when you find them inside of your lungs, these small balls sitting next to each other, having a partner. They're in touch normally. And now this one drop fall into another world. So it is also separated again. And normally it looks like, as when you see and look at it, this drop, it looks like a tear. It's like really, really sadness because I lost connection. I lost it. I'm separated. And it's another thing what is happening. So there is big, big sadness. And at the same time, the sadness brings us like, as water is, now I can get in touch. I'm soft, I'm flexible, I'm movable. And it is an impossibility. But at the same time, outside is so different. And we see a water drop is falling and a small, like a stone or like a small dust will touch it, it is destroyed. It will not have longer this shape of a bubble. Okay, so that is also happening. And this brings mostly another feeling. It was so sad. It was so, I was so touched. It was like, here I am, I have my own and I'm lost. And at the same time, I am this unique drop. You know, I'm this unique person. And then there are a lot of strange things around me. So, and that is the next shock mostly. Like, wow, there is an outside world. And it it is shocking or it's hitting my surface. And that is the creation of asthma, because there's a reaction on the outside of I lose my shape, I lose my wholeness, I lose who I was before, and I'm separated. So the reaction is creating fear, and my boundaries are not longer there. So there's anger and hysteria. So what can I do around that? What happens to me? So people become hypersensitive then, because everywhere and every now and then it can happen, because I lost this amazing sitting together bubble, first with my mother, and then coming from this oneness too. And now the whole world is with a lot of strange things around me. And what we really observed in people was that this hysteria to the outside, this mixing anger and fear, was the main pattern. Like an overreaction to the outside. And if you bring an overreaction and overaction and like this fear, and for me, I really experience fear is like, as my mouth is right now, drying me out. Fear is like fire. It's like, it's acceleration. It is like vibration. And if you bring a water drop on an accelerated or heated platform, what will happen? It will be more and more separated or even dry out. So, and that is what is happening also in the lungs. They are crumbling more and more, like dry raisins. They're becoming more and more small, because it is so dangerous to expand to the outside. It's so dangerous to breathe out, to take space. It is so hot, so vibrant, so amazing, unknown outside. The only thing what I can do is, like, as it is in the sneezing of an hay fever, is to hachi and throw everything away what is maybe attacking me, using my hysteria to say, go out of me. Or holding my breath back so that I can hold my shape. So, and that is what we mainly observed, that the allergy pattern is really happening in asthma. Like, I cannot breathe out anymore, my life force, because I'm already so in shock. Because my first breathing, maybe I held my breath already. It was a shock, or the separation happened. And this drying out creates more and more symptoms. Because then I don't longer show my liquidity, my real purpose, my whole sadness to communicate. So in the Feelings Practitioner world, we are using the distinctions of the feelings, and the feeling of sadness is bringing really the possibility to communicate, to get in touch, to be intimate again. And so as our bronchs are, there is a lot of intimacy. And that is mostly the longing. The real longing is, I want to be close again. I'm missing the closeness what I have had before.
And I will add something to that. And I'm so scared to be so close. So
Yes.
it's this layer of fear, or also anger, as you said, to protect me, to not be so close because something dangerous will happen. And this is this contradiction, and what I've experienced, like the inner fight Like I want to be close and I don't want to be close because I want to be safe. And
yeah. And it is like this melting into factor. Yeah, it's one point I really want to melt again back into the oneness. I want to become like this whole amazing source I have been before. And at the same time, I know that I live for my own, that I have my own reason, that I'm a radiant person. And that is really what you said. It's really like, or screaming inside of us. It's like a scratching inside and also making friction inside. And that is the reason that mostly you can see in your clients that also asthma people are dissociated from their physical body, to not longer feel that they cannot live in this shape of lungs, which are also in some, for example, in Chinese medicine, it is a temple of our life. It is also the joy temple. You know, like if you have a healthy lung, they are saying you are really like taking the life in. So, but yes, it is and was too dangerous. It was like nobody wants really to be alone again. It's the worst thing for our lives because we are like social beings and we cannot survive without social contact. And our deep inner soul knows that. And I'm really glad because our body is so wise. Yeah, and each of the symptom shows in what direction or when it happened or what was their strategy to hold back the contact or try to get in contact again. And so the first thing is to allow the sadness again, to allow to feel yourself first, melting into your sadness.
I noticed that is what happens in me when you're speaking and opening these doors to come closer to my lungs. Is I immediately feel my sadness in my lungs.
Yeah, and I'm so glad because, yeah, it brings really, I like that the allergy brings also in the consciousness, if we are allowing to bring the sadness, it is already happening. If I invite love and connecting and intimacy, we know it. Our soul is so prepared for it. And I would say it is like the collective has also allergy right now. It's like a collective pattern. And I'm so glad that you spoke it out, Millicent, because then you are in the next bubble, and you're inviting the next person to express and communicate. And that is the main danger, because if I touch another bubble, there is another trigger maybe happening. So, and that is the thing, to start inside. Our lungs are inside of the body. And as I know that we have also expert of breathing, because it's also about the breathing, how to breathe, because the lungs are like there is a big exchange happening. So there is also a big exchange in each moment of each feeling happening. So, and I know that Ines, you are like an expert also, and maybe you also want to bring something what you observe and have seen how the patterns are in allergy combined with the feelings.
Thank you for the invitation. As I want to clarify, as far as my expertise goes, I trained with the Graduate School of Breathing Sciences and also the Buteyko Institute. And one thing which I find fascinating about lungs, I think it aligns actually with what you said about connection, is that the lungs are like a breathing pack. So what that means is they help us to survive in this atmosphere. It's almost like we don't belong on this planet, and we created these lungs to be able to live here. So if we look at the gases that our body needs and the composition that they need it in, and the amounts that they need, the air that is out there is actually not great for us. And this is why the lungs developed to increase the CO₂ levels for us, so that the lungs mix those gases into the right composition for us to use it. So it's a bit like we're astronauts, and instead of having a breathing pack on the back, we have them inside ourselves. And if I imagined not needing that, would be a totally different experience of living on this planet. Because I don't need to go through this process of essentially filtering and changing what I breathe in. I would be so much more connected straight away with my environment. And having this in a way disconnects me. So I just seeing this analogy to what you brought about connection and disconnection. Yeah. And in terms of breathing mechanism, or breathing patterns. The breath is this amazing thing that is situated between a conscious habit, a conscious habit and an unconscious habit. A conscious action and an unconscious habit that is created through for a number of reasons. And a lot of them are emotional in origin. And I've heard a number of stories of children who've developed constriction. So their first asthma attack, because of feeling separated and wanting attention. And that being an amazing way to get attention, because there's a serious need of intervention and help. And there are others, I'm sure. But again, we're coming back to disconnection and wanting connection, and developing unconsciously this way of this works. If I create this tightening inside myself, then I will get connection, for example. Yeah. The other thing I want to bring in from my understanding is that asthma is a set of symptoms. There's 3 symptoms that are combined in asthma, and it's similar but different to anxiety, which is the constriction and the inflammation, and the airway narrowing. Yeah, so the constriction, inflammation, and congestion. I missed that one. So the phlegm, or the stuff that's created inside the lungs, that will sit there. The mucus. Yeah. And this is one.
Yeah.
Sorry, say again.
Yeah, it's amazing that you name it, because it's the mucus. So as a body, I only want to mention it right now, the mucus is already, the body is creating a liquid, and liquid is sad. Yeah. So the body is already creating what he really or she is needing. Yeah. Go ahead. It's working. Thank you.
Yeah, and what I want to say is, like, this is one way for the body to handle an overwhelming situation, and other people develop other ways. So in what I mean, yeah. So for me, an overwhelm is feelings that I can't handle, and it creates an energy in the body of doing something with it. And what the body does is it starts to ramp up metabolism. And one way is breathing more. And as a result of breathing more, the CO2 levels drop. And then there's the question, how does the body compensate for dropping CO2 levels? And with people who they use their lungs to compensate. So the lungs start to squeeze shut, and that means the CO2 levels raise again. So it's really the wisdom of the body to handle the situation that's present. And other people narrow their blood vessels instead of the airways. So there's constriction happen in other places, and because people have different mechanisms in how they deal with this increase in metabolism because of the overwhelm. So, and I find that really interesting. So I personally don't have this tendency to constrict my airways. I have a tendency to constrict my gut. So, and different people are different. So, and I want to bring that in also. There's a lot of wisdom in the body and why it does what it does. Thank you.
Yes, and as you said, there is like another pattern inside of it, because it is also what can happen, inflammation. So some have only the allergic reaction and not really, maybe not having so much strong inflammation. And yes, and there is like different parts which will constrict, or as you said, Ines, you hold the atmosphere to the outside and you are like moving in this constricted area and showing yourself. You cannot express yourself in a way you would like to do it. And inflammation has a different pattern behind. It's like fighting against invisible walls. Like I need to come out, and like putting more effort inside of it. Yeah. So, and as you see, it is mostly about fear and anger, which sits in different parts of our body and is stuck. And the real necessity, as you brought it, to bring the inside lungs more to the outside, to be again most intimate you can be. So that you create a space where you see and feel your healthy borders. And the exchange is happening because liquids, like they are like the ground force for it. Yeah, and also then because the liquids can have all their Aggregatzustände, all the different levels of like gases, and can be frozen, and it's already all in there. Yeah, and it is the difference to really see, I need to become a single person, and at the same time I need to be close again as much as I can, and also wish. When you will interview your clients, most of them will say they will have a long legend, a long collection of stories where they felt separated.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you look at the chemistry of oxygen and CO2, you said it, carbon dioxide, yeah, it's the same happening there. It's like also, it's a different way of O2, yeah. And so it is to really invite your clients to come first and checking their lungs inside of them, their own environment, and come in contact. Be conscious. Be honest. Dare to speak what you want and need to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
What is your real sadness about? What are you really missing? And then it's not only bringing it to the outside, but because it is normally the reaction, it's a reaction, an overreaction, or like an adaptation to the outside already happening, and stop that. It's not about to do that first. It is to really sense and feel, I have the shape of a drop already. I have the shape of my physical form. And touching yourself from inside. Watering your own raisin. Like, feel we are liquid beings. There are 70 or more % is water inside of us. And then slowly start to experience using the fear, which is in the reaction, that is the key. So the whole map shows the keys, using the fear to become vulnerable again, to become curious again about what is there, where I am in this outside world. There is another being, there is another atmosphere around me, and show what is going on in you right now.
And this
Not
is,
go.
I just wanted, like, with my fear at the moment, I'm learning to, I would often go into really high levels of fear, and I could not be with it. But what I get is, like, using this fear is also the delicate layers of the fear, so not the high intensities, coming closer to the smaller layers and letting them become unfurl.
Yeah, that's the thing that is super that you bring in that example, because if you have an emotion, an emotional reaction, and like a high intensity of fear, it is, if it's fear in the moment, it would be so high intensive, you would run away. You would start to put your legs in the hand and you will run away. That is the survival, what is fear in this high pitch for. So if you could not have run away, it could stay in your body, so it can come up again. And then if you feel it again in this moment when you direct it to your client or you feel it in your own, so check first your reality. Check first what is going on inside of you and what is real outside. So to distinguish, is it an emotion or is it a feeling? And like in the panic, you need to run away, or is there nothing to move right now? And we needed these emotions, or we needed it to really survive. And at the same time, if you use your feeling as it is also meant for, like a nutrition and an information for your body, you will sense that your body will sense and show the feeling first. And it is more like a sensation, or like an, how it's called, tingling. And it is like you feel it in your nerves normally. All your senses are awakened. So, and that is the sign, here's something I don't know. I'm vulnerable. I will touch, maybe I will check out, what is this here? I don't know it. So all your fingertips, for example, they are informed, like they are like awakened in this moment. And if you navigate first in your physical body, there will be a feeling experience. And yeah, and maybe also an emotion, but you can separate them. What is right now an emotion? What is a feeling? And for navigating this becoming vulnerable process, you would use the feeling. Yeah. And sometimes it also needs, sometimes for your clients, that they experience that it is possible to run away. Yeah, that also like everything in us is flexible. Yeah, like the gestures, they're giving us like a tight hold, and at the same time we can stretch them and we can experience how big our powers are and how big we are and how spontaneous we can handle if something is happening to us. We are so designed and trained for it.
And I want to mention here the healing possibility, because I see now how the Feelings Practitioner and Buteyko Method, for example, are linking together. As in the asthma symptoms, the fear is stuck. It's frozen fear. It's not moving. Yeah, and then the possibility is to, as you said, like to run or let the fear like be moved with the fear. So make a movement, make an action, and not be in this frozen state. And what I've experienced with Buteyko, what we did with Ines, is this breathing method where you hold the breath, which creates more fear, where normally you have the air hunger and short breath, and you hold the breath on the exhale, there's even more fear, and walk. So it's like tricking the body, let's say that, whoa, I can walk and have all this fear and not breathing. So it's like my experience is like rewiring the information in the physical body that it's safe to feel fear and be moving instead of being the frozen fear and being stuck and not moving.
Yeah, numbing yourself. Like it's like overreacting and numbing. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to add something. So, because I'm scared that people think that these crazy breath holds are the Buteyko method, and it's not, essentially not true. Because the key thing that Professor Buteyko came up with was actually relaxation. And to relax regularly. So he did that every 2 hours with his patients, even throughout the night, to get them into a state of relaxation to the extent that their CO2 levels would naturally come up. And it's at a biological level, physiological level, it's the pH of the blood that is determined by the CO2 levels that will force us to breathe or not breathe. So if the CO2 levels go down, then we will stop breathing. If the CO2 levels go up, we will breathe less. We'll breathe more. So this is a general guideline. So for him, he observed that the sicker people were, the lower their CO2 levels were. So his method is all about increasing CO2 levels. And holding a breath is one way, relaxation is another way. Yeah, just want to add that in there.
Yeah, it is like, as I explained, it is bringing the outside atmosphere, as you said, bringing your backpack into your life. Yeah, like expanding that you can be here on planet. It is not to be afraid of being here. It's using conscious fear. It's not about to say something is wrong, bad, or not okay. If it's not. If it is, you will move. If it's not, because it's only a story in my head, I can see and feel my body has the impact, the possibility. I can move. I'm here. I'm radiant and powerful. So it's really like a reconnection to your body wisdom too. And yes, and if there is not like longer attention, a constriction, a shock, it is about relaxing into it, because we are still missing joy, isn't it? So the 4 feelings, it's about joy. Yeah? And connection in a way of being motivating, collaborating, radiating is in the moment happening. When you really expand your being again. So then closeness is happening anyway, because how can you have the story you are alone on this world with million people around you, with I don't know how many cells right now. It's, I don't know the English, billions or millions. It's yeah, you are already not alone because you have organs, you're an orchestra of yeah, and source play, like, whole orchestra. And that is mostly also happening in asthma, because if you are not so much breathing out or holding your breath, there is like a technique from an old ancient wise tribe. It's called the breath of God. Yeah, so if you're not longer breathing, how is your creation happening? The creation of your life. If you are not expanding your lungs and like having more ability to blow them and use them.
Yeah, I'm really getting how this shift is about, like, from the perspective of like a medical perspective, asthma is like this one thing, and it has this happens, and then you need to do this to make it go away. Like the shift I'm seeing is that it's like a culmination of symptoms inside each person, and each person's journey with that is very specific to them. There's a whole,
Yeah, it is. Go.
yeah, just like there's a whole terrain for every person behind like what it is that's happening.
Yeah, as it is, I called it a symptom is the key. The key, something wants to fall apart, so you can use the key for to opening your doors. And yes, we are trained somehow to be afraid in front of symptoms. And yes, sometimes they are really worse and hard and punishing and painful and facing, like they are like punished in our eyes. Yeah, we need to look at them. And yes, we don't want to see them, so to see them, so we trained to put them away. And at the same time, some techniques of medicine also and the medicine culture said, okay, let's check and go deeper. What is the language of the symptoms? And as the word diagnosis in the meaning means, it looks like it is the meaning of looking through. A diagnose gives you the possibility to look through, to unveil the things behind what is going on in the blind spots. Yeah, so that you can see it more clear, what you avoided or what you needed to numb and not to see. And so, yes, and only putting them down will then bring back. So it will be worse and worse because the body is screaming and it's intelligent and saying, hey, you didn't get it yet. And I'm really a partner. I'm a company. I'm with you. And sometimes, yes, it is really also important to bring the body out of a survival strategy. And sometimes you cannot do it for your own, and it needs also a medication. So your body needs help, for example, like crutches or something else, so that the person can rest for a moment, come out of the acute survival strategies, and then the healing can happening and start in looking deeper and opening one door after another. And while you may be calming down for a moment, also the high pitch of a symptom. Yeah, you don't need to have the alarm clock all time ringing. You heard it already. Okay, so do you have questions or maybe own experiences, or how are you right now here?
I feel so glad that I was 2 years ago in your space, Michaela, and had this experience of a really intense constriction and not breathing, and this hint of, because I really realized how I was hating my physical body for doing this and stopping me to correctly finishing this process, what we did or whatever it was. And at the same time having this fear going on that I didn't even notice anymore. I was so in this, why is this still happening thing, that I didn't notice that I was full of fear, and you mirrored it back to me in that moment. And it started the journey for me to begin to befriend with my physical body again and have this, not this thing of, oh, I'm a victim, but the sadness for how, yeah, what a wonder this is to be here. And I'm also, I also did some trainings in Buteyko, and this for me really works to have this radical, dangerous experiment of being in the situation of, okay, I cannot breathe properly right now. It's getting less and less and less. And then stop breathing. And what happened was relaxation, because the stop was like was like a break. It's also experienced that in this Wim Hof extreme method with the ice bathing. It's this short moment like, okay, there's nothing and nothing to do. And for me, this was also a key of being so dare to trust my body that I will not die.
Yeah, and as you said, at the moment of nothingness, I really love it, because it's also, again, the analogy to, like, as we have been hovercrafting souls, hovercrafting in the ubiquität, in the everythingness or in the nothingness. So we are really connected to that, and we can connect into it. So it's also like activating our spiritual insight and coming back to our purposes. Yeah, and using our chosen vehicle for this life, and training all abilities we have. Thank you. And I also heard you saying it was like teamwork, what we did. And that is really the main thing I also really want to mention, because allergies, inflammation, also asthma, healing is happening in teams. You cannot really do it really alone. Yeah, as I said, you cannot see your blind spots, and it is mentioned also and seen our organs are in company all the time. They're like, if they separate from each other, for example, cancer cells, they're saying, hey, I do my own, and something else is happening. And if we come also there in a team back, healing is even easier and more obvious. And it's that journey, what is going on then. So also allergy brings us to togetherness back. It's an amazing symptom. And I see really, if I observe the collective, it's coming up more and more allergies are here. So the collective person, the collective is screaming for the person's, hey, it's about breathing, relaxation, and coming together again.
Yeah, and because I've recently found this like this thing in me which has like a maximum capacity for receiving love. It's like I max out and I cannot let in anymore. And I feel sad about that, because to me that is connected to this journey into my lungs, is like where I am longing for connection and also really scared of it. Even though I don't really experience like asthma symptoms, I can see how in a way I'm there's somewhere on the spectrum or in a continuum where I also sit with my own relationship with my lungs and my ability to incarnate and be intimate with life.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
My experience is adding to that is that I had always that longing for something that I couldn't name. It was all the time something missing in my life, like some depth, meaningful, something I was looking for I think in various ways, and I couldn't find that. And this, I then understood that this is this connectedness, togetherness, the oneness that I lost, and that's the quality or the force of sadness that brings it in. But I couldn't find it with my fear or anger, just pushing and going through life and doing next thing, and maybe this will give me the satisfaction, or maybe this will nourish me, but it didn't at that level that I was really longing for.
Yeah, and as it is combined or like comparable to breathing again. Yeah, as you said, Ines, it has an active and non-active part. It's like also the relaxation. It is like if you try as a dry raisin, find contact, you are already like running for it, going out in hysteria. I need to find it. I need to come into a connection again. I need to breathe. Yeah, it will not work. And if you look at a small, soft and slow running water, it is slow and it is in this big relaxation moment of, it's all capacity. You know it. If you cry, for example, you have the image of it will never end. It is floating, it's slow, it is expansion in a way of, I will reach out my hand in a soft and slow way. And it will not work if you run for something. Yeah. And we have a lot of liters of blood, and also oxygen is in there, and also carbon oxide. So it's like a whole system of rivers, yeah, for this big oceans inside of us. So if you again maybe think, maybe Melissa, and you can check it, I'm not capable, because I know that too. Yeah, it's so big to receive love. It's so big to receive. It's so big to come into this whatever it is around me again, and to myself. Remember that it is like the water inside of me is like the picture. It is a big ocean. In each cell and each drop in us. It looks like it brings already more volume in the lungs we started with. Isn't it here? I also can sense that my tension in my diaphragm in this upper part of my belly is really loosened right now too. Yeah, there too.
As
yeah,
we
so
speak,
go.
as we speak about blood, Michaela, what do you have for the white part, the eosinophil thing? Because I was curious this year to make this typical big checkup for my lungs again after decades, and they checked it and they gave me the typical treatment with cortisol, and then I checked it again after months, and it was not changing the amount of very high eosinophil in my breathing.
Yes, thank you. So because what I mentioned or didn't mention is So there are different processes. Yeah, there is the allergy process, and yes, it is from the macrocosmos. You can do something. You can have an experience of expressing your feelings, and at the same time, you can do like an inner journey. So, for example, you can have an organ interview with your lungs. What happened to them? And the other thing, you also can do it with your blood. You can check your blood, because each cell in the blood is also an organism, like a single one. And if the population is growing, it is a symptom of, I want to be more, so I want to be more seen. And there is a process in the Feelings Practitioner world, I call it the Feelings blood cell dialysis. So it is an constellation work with your blood cells. And it's amazing what is popping up there. And you will get the hint and the ideas, what is going on with yours. And the specialty part, this part you named, the eosinophile, they are really about allergy also. So then you need to bring them back, as it is happening in liquids. It is about liquid, and let them swim again. So yeah, but there's a process, and we really did it, and it was amazing. It is really like as a normal dialysis would wash the blood.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions, maybe?
I want to share my short experience with chest tightness or constriction, which happened to me once in an overwhelming situation. All of a sudden, my lungs started to squeeze, and I've started to feel the fear of what's going on. And because I knew from my training what was happening, it was like in a way, it was a gift for me to understand what it feels like for someone to go through. But I knew what to do, and which is to give the body more of what it wanted to do for itself. And so I just did a really gentle breath hold, and it relaxed everything straight away. I wasn't able at the time to handle my feelings, but the relaxation happened. And I'm really grateful for this experience. And I'm also grateful to now be more able to feel, so I can handle what needs handling and not go into overwhelm, and let my body, for the body to have to handle it in other ways. And the other thing I want to say is that it's really possible, and I know many people who have come off their asthma medication, and to do that with a support team, to not try and do it by yourself, and that is possible. It's really what I want to say. That's amazing for people who think it's a life sentence to have to be on that. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. It is really possible, as I experienced it also for my own. So it's really speaking from my own experience. I have had also asthma symptoms when I have been 9 years old until 13. So, and I really discovered what happened in my family, the fear and so on. And I also felt like the disconnection, and also ever, as you said, like, what is my real purpose, what I'm here for? And I'm totally cured. I haven't had any symptoms. It only came back once when I have been 18 in a shock situation. So because a partner of me were burned, and I was so in stress, and it was about my intimate relationship and how to be close and feel separated. So it was really like coming out for one more time. and then it was gone. When I really went through it, as you said, Ines, in conscious breathing and stopping the hysteria action to the outside. Yes, it's really working. Agar, is something there from you, or Kiri? Maybe you have questions or insights. Because I would say each bubble is important, as we are like a lung organism today.
Well, I'm thinking about my guts, to be honest, because it's also very connected to what you are talking about with the gut cells. So I don't have any specific question, but I just try to figure out.
And I love it. And I love it because you bring in that I forgot to speak about the cell breathing. In each cell, also in the gut cell, there is a breathing happening. So, and also that one needs to take care of if you check asthma. Is the breathing in the cells still happening in each part of your body? So that's also the reason that the symptom can be everywhere. It's not only about the diaphragm. Yes, that could be a functional thing, but the other thing is maybe your cells will also run out of air and also react hysterical and so on. The mitochondria in the cells. Thank you that you brought it. Kiri, or also Jennifer, something from you. Where you were interested in, or what can I share, or what you want to share?
A lot of my experience with asthma is related to exercise, when I'm exercising my body, especially cardio fitness. And yeah, that is something that I remember starting from a young age when I was at primary school. And I sort of have this memory of pretending to have an asthma attack, so that I didn't need to do exercise or a cross-country run. And it was not long after that that I actually was taken to the doctor and diagnosed with asthma. Yeah. So it's interesting that my first experience I remember is that maybe I did actually experience asthma. I didn't know what it was, but I remember thinking, oh, I could say that I'm experiencing this and then I won't need to do this run.
Yeah, thank you. It is really like both sides of the coin each time. A key has two sides. It is really also to create separation, to also, as Ines mentioned, it is to avoid or to come out of a situation, creating restriction, creating something like I need to come out. And as I also know, it is really a lot in school happening, where first time also the competition is starting. I am compared, and that creates also separation. And there is already happening the pain of, wow, I am not longer one organism. My friend next to me is not so close any longer because now she is not similar to me anymore.
Yeah, I relate to that because I remember as well that a lot of people expected that I would do well with running, and expressed that to me, and I felt a lot of fear that I wouldn't live up to that expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. It's really this, and then it's going on and going on if you not come back to it when it happens and start it first and relax again the situation, that you are not comparable.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And it is not about reacting to the outside world. It is acting and living inside of you.
Yeah, and I have an experience which is slightly similar, and it's also a reaction to what my body is doing. So when I exercise, my CO2 levels increase. This is unusual for the body. The body is used to a certain level, and then a whole cascade kicks in the body to adjust to the increase in CO2 levels when we do sports, when we run. So I remember that I used to play a lot of basketball, and I remember being in the starting five and kind of being not warm and starting to play a game. And then after a couple of minutes, I had to say to my coach, I need to come off because I cannot run anymore, like I cannot breathe. And then I was sitting there and waited a couple of minutes until the relaxation and the opening of my airways and my blood vessels actually kicked in. And I could run the whole game. That was fine. But it's a similar reaction to, like, what we call exercise-induced asthma, like reaction to a stress that happens inside the body. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And it is, as you said, about finding also your rhythm and your joy of movement. And if you are pressed in something, it can be yours. And it is. And then if you do it with joy, it is the motivation. Yes, as you said, you will go over your first border because you feel, oh, I want more, and there is more to experience. And you are in your own rhythm, and then maybe the restriction is not longer necessary. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to add two discoveries to that. One is I love to dance, and I can dance the whole night without breathing problems. Okay. But when I go to gym, the first thing on this cross trainer is like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And I look at the others, it's like, okay, they are at 8, they are at 12. So I need to go to at least 5. And it's like, okay, I can do that too. And it's not working. So then at one point I was like, okay, I do it in a way that it's really joyful. And it meant that I started with having it at 1 and just floating a bit for 10 minutes, not even sweating, getting off the thing. And this was it. And I did that for weeks. But it was kind of, or how can I start hiking? Not walking with the others in their pace, like, okay, and then dying after 5 minutes. And as you say, I need to rest, and then I can walk the whole day. So it's this how to make it and really in a pace that I feel joy with this movement, and that's a big thing.
It is.
Because movement was really scary for me.
Yes. And that's the thing, what you also mentioned, it needs training. And it's the same thing if you have created something like, I don't want to do it any longer, but now I find back the motivation I'm interested in. It's like the same if you would be having an allergy around raisins or like flowers. It would be like coming a little bit closer to it, having a small encounter, and then, okay, next time a little bit longer. So you will train to be having this intimacy with yourself and the other being more and more. So, and then you will train and expand your ability to have more joy, more connection, and then you become also healthier. But it's sometimes, or very often, you really need the training. It is not maybe only one time, as healing is a whole journey. And your symptoms are the guideline you can go with.
And this, I think the key is the fear, that this, what you said before, like be curious, because I can do the training from this place of I will do it, like I will push through, I can make it again. No. But if I do it from like, oh, how that would be actually, what's fascinating me in that now, then this joy and inspiration comes, and this different place from which I can do it, or we can do it, we can do it. And then the results will be different because it's consciously using fear instead of unconsciously using anger.
Yeah, I love it. It's really coming into a relationship with yourself. And I love the word in English, it includes the ship, and ships needs water. Okay. Or movement. So I heard there was a question also how to become a feelings practitioner and what is it, and is it still in the space? Is it to answer that question too? Do you need more information?
Yeah, how to go deeper into this work and like the kind of spaces that are available, but and also the kind of what is the journey?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so if you want to enter and go deeper and having experiences, there are like for free twice a week, the Feelings Practitioner online clinics. And it's 1 hour. You can join there and check out what will happen. It is team experience, and it's like a healer village. And it shows how it goes, or it's like a discovery space. And then there are like trainings to, for example, the Peaceful Warrior training to have an embodied sensation and training about how to use anger in your physical body and to move with it. And there's another training also, it's called Embodying Magic. It's a fear training. So to really feel that you have a capacity in your nervous system, in your body, to be so curious and creative with your fear. And then there is a core training, like with the main distinction and with the maps I already presented to you and more, where you can go through, and then deepening the context in the deepening trainings so that you can space hold for your clients and also experience your own healing journey. And then becoming a feelings practitioner and holding space for your clients and for yourself. And your body is the amazing own teacher you have, because it is also only you have the key, and the others can help you or can support and be with you so that you can use them and find them. It's about your pathway. Nobody can do it for you. And that is also what is life for. It includes all your wisdom and all your gifts. The whole incarnation.
And that's maybe the biggest fear of to dare to be me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really love it because I experience how it's going into me that makes it possible to be with anybody else, whether it's just in a daily relationship or in a like client and space holder relationship or anything like that, but it starts with me having the courage to be with me first.
That makes clear. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really grateful. Thank you really for the invitation, for the space holding, and thank you for really coming and that you like to feel and felt the journey in this, what the symptom shows. It is the first step into healing. It already happened today.
Thank you, Michaela. Your wisdom. Sharing with us.
Thank you.